Oh!
Hello!
Hello!
I was just relaxing a bit before the show. Welcome, everybody.
Yes.
How are you, Erica?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, this is actually not a new toy, actually. It's pretty old, my balance board, but it's I can make good use of it, actually, before the show. So
Very nice, very nice. I'm every so often riding my bike back there behind me, strategically placed, but yeah.
Yeah, I hope you're also using it, right? So
yes, absolutely. Especially now that it's kind of dreary outside. Don't really want to leave the apartment.
Exactly. Same weather here in Munich, actually. It's pretty cloudy and cold, but there is still hope, right? So cool. So we had a great show, great interview show just 2 weeks ago with April and Yehiel. So that was Presize, body measurements, and also Yehiel with 3D modeling and 3D creation, basically for products and augmenting your product detail pages, so to say. And I think we had some great discussions after that show. So we got quite a few comments, and also from our own colleagues, we got a lot of links that we should try something out and look at something. And so I think we wanted to look into a couple of links that we looked into, a couple of news items also. And then we wanted, of course, to discuss what's coming up with the next show.
Yeah. So, that was a very good segue into what was definitely the most interesting, or one of the most interesting parts of the conversation for me, which was getting our guests' insights on the uncanny valley and how to, kind of mitigate the oddness and the kind of creepiness that comes with getting digital images and representations closer to real life. And so we ended up talking a lot about that. And then after the conversation, Georg wrote us, and he basically shared an example of a FaceSwap video that he made, and this absolutely blew my mind. Just seeing how easy it is, and how weirdly realistic these videos can be. I don't think I'll try it myself, but it was very interesting to see what you can already do yourself, on
Absolutely. I think the app he used in this case is Impressions, so I don't want to advertise for too long, of course, but it is pretty amazing what you can do with these FaceSwap apps, right? And just for the note, I think you have to be a bit careful of it. Also, sometimes there's quite a bit of craziness in these apps and unwanted features, probably, right? So
but hey, if any out there have made some interesting FaceSwap images, be sure to share them with us. Very curious to see what some people are up to. And then also off of that conversation thread, Yehiel had mentioned digital humans, and we got a chance to check this out after the interview. And again, absolutely mind blown by how these human representations can be made up absolutely totally digitally, right? And they look so realistic.
I have to show you something here, actually. So because over on YouTube, I found that video, which is one of their sample videos, and it's pretty amazing, actually. So these are all not real people, basically, right? They're digital creations. But look at the skin, right? Look at the faces, basically. They're so extremely rich in details. It's amazing, right? I've seen some other videos where they, for example, showed some news speakers and stuff like that. And you just realize that in a few years' time, you might not actually have a human news speaker anymore, because you could really swap that, I guess.
Yeah. I know. And then when you're combining that with these voice technologies, just calling for support or getting directions or something like this, I'm sure very soon it'll be the case that you won't be able to tell if it's a real person or not that you're engaging with.
Yeah, totally. So in other news, so we then kind of continued looking a bit more for AR stuff, right? And about, I think, more than a year back, when we still did only audio podcasting, we had an interview actually with a company that was bought by Facebook, and that company is called Control Labs. And then there was a news item coming out just recently, which is about Facebook showing off a neural wristband to control AR glasses, and that must be the first output out of that out of that acquisition, I believe, right? And that's also pretty amazing. So the idea here is basically when you walk out of the door and it detects you could maybe want to listen to your favorite podcast, you kind of just snip with your finger, and that means turn on the podcast, basically, right? So might be a bit out. It's amazing. It's using EMG, and I once looked that up. Actually, what it means, it's electromyography. So that really means you can read signals from the spinal cord with a wristband. Okay, so it's something attached to your wrist that reads the signals from behind here. So it's amazing, right? So
yeah. Now, it would be very interesting to one day, be able to walk around the house and be like, and the lights come on.
So there's even a retail example here, right, with the shopping cart here, where you basically, that's a quite positive example here. That's like frozen eggs, or what is that? Frozen foods is around the corner, basically. Some navigation example. Could also be advertisements, right? Maybe Facebook knows you well. But lots of opportunities, I think, when it comes to AR and retail spaces, also physical retail spaces, I believe.
Yeah, and then of course, letting you control things digitally and see the effects of them without having to really press anything or touch anything. Very, very cool. I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for more updates on that.
Yeah. So this is an item that I found just because I thought the whole Facebook news item that I just presented is maybe a bit out, right? And well, maybe, right? We don't know. Or maybe a bit less I would say relevant, right? But this year is quite interesting. So AR and VR definitely could play a really big role when it comes to surgery, right? So the surgeon could be many miles away, sitting at home basically, and for AR, for example, you could overlay relevant information on top of the surgery, for example, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of application fields, I would say, that make a lot of sense and that would be really, really useful, and no question, right? Yeah. So I wanted to add that here basically to the discussion. That it's not just about shopping and retail and fun and seeing ads basically, right? But it could also be about something that's potentially life-saving, right?
Absolutely.
Let's see. And at the same time, that's something really sad, because I was actually someone who was using these cardboard goggles from Google a lot, actually. So this is VR, not AR, right? So you kind of swap in your smartphone, and then you would be able to kind of look around and see that VR world. And I even bought that professional version for like $70 or 70 euros, basically. I bought the real product from Google. I got it for free, maybe with my Pixel phone. I'm not quite sure, maybe for a little bit more probably, but and now they stopped doing it, of course, right? So some products also end, so there seems to be no more future in Google Cardboard.
Yeah. But that means that the ones that you have now will be collector's items.
Oh, exactly, and that could bring us to non-fungible tokens, actually. NFTs, but that's just the second or the next news item, actually. So.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually. I should not throw them away this time, actually. Yeah.
No. They'll have even more value later.
Should put it into my little museum here, right behind me. Yeah. Wait a second. I didn't want to go to Beeple, actually, but let's talk about Beeple here, actually, because that's really the non-fungible tokens now. So
yeah. So I saw some really interesting news that Beeple NFT sold for $69 million at the Christie's auction, and this was I think like the largest sale for a living artist, and like the third largest sale, art sale of all time, I think, for the auction house at least. And I was just like, okay, what is this? So I went down the rabbit hole a little bit. I think you could scroll up because I don't think.
Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I, went on a little search really to learn more about, what is NFT and, what is the idea behind all of this value. And it's a pretty interesting topic. I would strongly suggest if you're not knowledgeable about digital artwork and non-fungible tokens, as Sven's mentioned, it's definitely worth looking into. It's apparently a very recent niche phenomenon where those who are able are both creating digital art and collectibles, and also selling and buying them. And the entire topic is a little bit controversial, just because of the debate on how art should be sold and creative assets should be sold. The fact that producing these tokens is not that sustainable. It actually has quite high expenditure
costs, right?
Yeah, and then of course there's the whole crypto aspect to it, right?
Yeah.
So I would definitely say that if any of that piques your interest, definitely take a look at that news item, and let us know what you think about crypto art.
Yeah, to be honest, that is also something that you put into our sequence of news items here, right? And I first also thought, what the hell is this actually, right? And then I talked to Georg and to Lars a bit actually from my team from CX Labs, and just recently I now served Rarible, and that's like a marketplace for these non-fungible token art, basically, right? So you can upload something here, so I can just click create, say, hey, this is a single item. And then I can make it, okay, I want to get 5 Ether for that, or right? Which is like a lot of money. And I just looked it up. So I looked some items up, and there's some items here that are for sale for many Ethers, actually. I'm not sure why the picture doesn't come out. This here, for example, it's right now being sold for $1,784, right? So, and essentially you get this picture here, so.
Yeah, because they're basically also just like pixels and GIFs, and it's very
these tokens they typically live on proof of work blockchains. So that's what I read up. So like Ethereum, for example, and the sustainability downside that you mentioned, right, is that this is proof of work. That means basically some computers need to do some work and burn electricity for that, right? So it actually costs the planet some money, kind of, right? I would say, or some resources at least. Yeah.
And they're also, every time that something is produced, it's also generating more tokens because of the Ethereum system. But
so something that's related to this is CryptoKitties. It's way older, but for many years you were able to buy kitties and kind of buy other kitties and bring them together and create new kitties out of the 2 other kitties, basically, right? And have kitty babies and stuff like that, and then you can sell them, right? And CryptoKitties is another phenomenon, I believe, right? I would say Rarible is probably the abstract marketplace for everything, and CryptoKitties is a bit more specialized in this area here, so definitely worth a look.
Yeah. Definitely, because I never heard of CryptoKitties before you told me about it. So,
right, cool. Well, that brings me to that item. If you that are watching right now, by the way, thank you for all the comments and the highs and from all around the globe, actually, right? If you have any topics that you want us to bring into the show, then please let us know in the comments. We're definitely reading these comments. And we should probably discuss the next show, right?
Yes.
Then let's do that. What's up for the next show?
Yeah, so we are going to be talking with another startup founder, Moti. Oh, wait, that's why you did this. So you're going to hear me butcher his poor name.
I can give it a try. Motilal Agrawal.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
We call him Moti.
And apologies already, Moti, for that. And he's one of the founders of Zippin, which is another startup that was part of SCPIO Foundry Munich. And they are all about frictionless commerce and shopping. So when you're able to go into the store and pick up anything that you want off of the shelves and simply walk right out of the store because you've already pre-registered and everything in the store is automated and connected by sensors. And so whatever you pick up and carry out with you is automatically paid for. It's a really, really interesting concept, and they've already had quite a bit of success in the States, and they are part of our fan experience cohort last year. And yeah, I'm really interested to get insight from him on what is the future of shopping going to be when we really do have these capabilities at scale similar to Amazon Go, where there's no need to go through a physical checkout. Mm-hmm. And I know that Sven is also going to have tons of technical questions about the sensors and about the connectivity.
Totally.
And all that fun stuff.
Totally right. So some years back, we also did some prototypes with a lot of sensors and Bluetooth technology, and we wired it up to the internet. So also a lot of IoT involved here, right? And it's kind of amazing, right? For something like a frictionless checkout, you need real sensor fusion, right? You need not just to have like a little sensor that tracks if you lifted something up, but also what exactly and how many things you put into your bag, and need to track if someone enters and leaves again, right? And all these things. So it's really sensor fusion, and it's very, very interesting, of course. And I'm super interested in hearing more about how they did that, actually. So yeah, very cool. And also in other news, I just read that Amazon actually opened a UK store, so like one of these Amazon Go stores in the UK, and they seem to be using weight sensors now to detect what customers have picked up. And then video cameras are detecting what they put into their bags, of course. And then at the very beginning of the shop, you kind of check in and you also check out. When you check out, they calculate what you have put in your bags, of course. And with Moti in our pre-chat, we all discussed how do you distinguish different kinds of apples and stuff like that, right? Is that even possible? How much is this a privacy topic? Would this be allowed here in Europe, for example? Would you need to sign like 5-kilometer long agreements to do that? Or it's going to be really interesting, I believe.
Absolutely. So yeah.
Cool. I think we're ready for the last thing then, kind of, right?
Yes, we are. So our last thing for today is, what is the last thing that you saw in a theater? And I guess I will go first because I had to actually look this up. It was quite embarrassing. But after combing through my email to find the last digital theater ticket I bought, it was actually Captain Marvel. And that was a solid 2 years ago. So I can't really blame the lockdown for that.
Amazing.
Yeah. And how about you, Sven?
So I believe the last thing that I saw in a real physical movie theater, I have a hard time to remember how that looked, actually. So I believe that was Tenet even. Yeah. So there was this one movie, this one blockbuster movie that came out just when the cinemas in Germany opened again, and then I kind of rushed into the cinemas and watched the movie. And I think a few weeks later, they also closed them again because it was again Corona time. So, but I'm not sure how much success they had because they were just kind of running for a couple of weeks, I guess. Yeah, but it was a good movie, definitely. A bit confusing also because they switch the times all the time. So.
Yeah, no, I definitely watched that in my home theater, mm-hmm. aka on my couch. But I thought it was really good, and I think it probably warrants a second premiere in theaters whenever they are open. And fingers crossed that won't be too long from now with all of the vaccines.
Okay, very cool. Thank you so much for watching. Again, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to talk about frictionless shopping with Moti from Zippin. Until then, let us know in the comments what you think and what ideas you have, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.